Well, howdy, and welcome to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm your host, Wild Bill, the media director at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame in historic Medora. We sure hope you had a wonderful Christmas holiday and a joyful New Year, all celebrated with friends and family. And we're going into 2023 with a lot of optimism, and we hope you are too. By the way, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been dedicating some of their posts on social media as of late to the longevity of some of their employees. 5 years, 10, 15, even 20 years. That says a lot about the integrity of Dakota Community Bank and Trust. And they've got some openings now. See if there's something there that might fit you. Go to dakotacommunitybank.com/careers and check it out. Well, this weekend, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Board of Directors, along with the Committee for Historical Accuracy, whittled the nominees down to the final ballot. And we will announce the names on that final ballot who will eventually be inducted into the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame based on the vote of the trustees. Now, testimony will be given for each nominee at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame annual meeting coming up in February in Minot. We'll be sure to tell you more about that as time draws near. You know, these are very exciting times in Medora, North Dakota, with the announcement that they are going to build the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library near the amphitheater, and they're expected to break ground this year in 2023 with the opening on the 250th birthday of the United States of America. Coming up, we're going to talk to Theodore Roosevelt repriser Joe Wiegand, who is very excited, and his excitement is infectious. It'll rub off on you, and he talks about some of the activities coming up and things of that nature that are being planned for the community of Medora and around the country, too. He's a very busy man, and can't wait for you to watch our conversation that we had with Joe recently. We'll follow that up with Amy McCann, who is the public relations coordinator, public relations liaison, if you will, for the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. And we'll lay the foundation of why are they building it in Medora and some of the things that are going into that library, which is being billed as a digital library for an analog president. We're looking forward to you hearing our conversation with Amy coming up in just a few minutes. Also, we will go back to 1998 and the first ever inductee into the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. Duane Howard was the very first person ever inducted, and he gives a very humble and moving speech after being introduced by Father Fonlander. All that and so much more coming up on Dakota Cowboy, so maybe get another cup of cocoa, call up the neighbors and tell them to turn on Beck TV, because Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust, is on. Thanks for watching.
Finish Line Automotive Addictions is the place to get any accessory for your vehicle. This winter, protect your truck and everything in it with a new toolbox, custom bed cap, or tonneau cover. Come see us for custom fit floor mats, Nerf bars, and mud flaps. Finish Line has the latest remote start tech with miles of range or smartphone access from anywhere. Let Finish Line Automotive Addictions get you ready for winter at 1824 East Main in Bismarck.
Ladies of Another View in a hometown near you,
where we visit the small towns around North Dakota.
The quilt shop was going to be closing, and I asked if they would be willing to sell. 13 years ago, we started Quilt Essentials,
highlighting the jewels of the prairie while sharing untold and forgotten stories.
The first original treaty, we were one tribe between us and the Sistinawattanoyate, broken down into two, and then they placed us here.
Wednesdays at 4:30 Central on Beck and Beck.News.
Man has worked in sync with Mother Nature since the beginning of time. Relying on her to provide sufficient moisture every growing season is a roll of the dice. You can now insure your pastures and rangelands with Rainfall Index policy available from Chamely Financial. This will give you the peace of mind by knowing you will be protected from the adverse effects of Mother Nature. Contact Chamely Financial today, 719-338-3428, or go to chamelyfinancial.com. preschool.com.
We are rewriting Hollywood's script for our kids. I'm pop culture expert Tina Griffin, and as a former Hollywood actress, I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how today's entertainment is eroding the foundational development of America's youth and how to safely navigate this pop culture chaos. Knowledge is power. Parents want solutions. It's time to get the power back in your hands and reclaim the right to decide who and what should influence your kids.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV. Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.
Hi, Rich from Law Motors. 45 years ago, Dad started selling cars. 35 years ago, I started selling cars. And 15 years ago, Tyler started selling cars.
And I'm Mom, and I told all of them, just be nice.
JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision has built a reputation as one of the most reputable and reliable body shops in this region. With nearly 30 years in business, customers count on JR's to get it done right the first time. They'll work with your insurance company to smoothen the process. From their 40-foot frame straightening machine, Sickens paint, and the latest technology in the repair industry, they're the only name you need to know. For auto, semi, RV, and trailer repair, it's JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. North Dickinson, call 701-483-6778. JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. Welcome back to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you each and every week by our great friends at Dakota Community Bank and Trust. And on behalf of Dale Paulke and the entire crew at Dakota Community Bank and Trust, they sincerely hope you had a wonderful Christmas and the new year comes with a lot of optimism. You know, we started Dakota Cowboy in June of 2022, and our first guest was Theodore Roosevelt, as reprised by my good friend Joe Wiegand. It's so good to have you on the first show in 2023, my friend.
Bill, congratulations on the run in 2022. All the best in 2023. We're so glad that you're bringing Dakota Cowboy to viewers throughout the region. We're glad to be a small part of it here in Medora.
I look back at the growth that we've had with this TV show. The first time that we did, we had to do a retake because I called it a horse that I was riding, and that horse was Greenbroke, Joe, and it bucked me off, and it bucked me off hard. But we're getting him tamed down, and it's going in a good direction. 2023 is here. It's looking like it's going to be another great year for the town of Medora. But before we go there, let's look back to where we've been. Talk about 2022. What a year it was.
Let's even go further back like you can do on the Google map, right?
Okay.
And look at the country. We had been throughout the pandemic a place that stayed open, welcomed people from throughout the country, and yet in 2022, for a lot of people around the country, that was the first time that for a lot of people who came to visit, that was their first time to get away and to be free in the open air and camp and all of that kind of stuff. So for folks to come out and see the outdoor Medora musical, to enjoy the other entertainments in town, to see the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame and so much else that we have here to offer, the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. People are outdoors and enjoying themselves. So that's, I think, the greatest highlight for me is the people, the fact that for a lot of people it was their first time to come to Medora. Of course, we had a lot of great programs throughout the summer, and I'd love to tell you more about our Badlands Chautauqua, our Veterans Appreciation Day. They're highlights throughout the year. The people are the best part.
You know, I think one positive thing, if you could take away from the pandemic, is we learned not to take things for granted. You know, we really appreciated being in the open air, elbow to elbow, enjoying Medora.
And enjoying our friends.
Exactly.
Medora is a wonderful place. We're here in January 2023 now, and that is the 125th anniversary year of the Rough Riders.
Oh my.
We're in the lobby of the beautiful Rough Riders Hotel, which is part of the resurrection story of modern Medora with Harold Schaefer and the Gold Seal Corporation, eventually the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation, on which it's my honor to be a Goodwill Ambassador, to be a Theodore Roosevelt Repriser, but you know, not the only one. So every year for the last 10, we've had a gathering of Theodore Roosevelts, a Badlands Chautauqua. If you're a Teddy Roosevelt anywhere in the country, if you can get here, the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation will put you up for free, feed you, give you an acting lesson from world-famous Marty Jonason from Fargo, who was the last young actor to play Theodore Roosevelt in Old Four Eyes. It's part of the heritage that we have to promote living history, and the Badlands Chautauqua in July promises to be a great deal of fun, especially since all of these fellows, young and old, will have a chance to tell the Spanish-American War story, the Rough Riders who came out of Arizona and New Mexico and gathered in San Antonio and trained there and went on to Tampa, and then 2/3 went to Cuba, a third got left behind. There's history to be told. Every night at the Medora Musical since its start in 1965, the Rough Riders have charged up San Juan Hill. And maybe it'll mean something even more next year on the 125th anniversary, during which we'll remember that there was one Rough Rider from North Dakota who was in the regiment. Some folks back east or elsewhere in the country think of the Cowboy Regiment. It was actually Grigsby's regiment out in Nebraska that had that moniker, but the Rough Riders are thought of as being cowboys. They were really mostly miners and lumbermen and folks from the Southwest, prospectors, hunters.
You mentioned the Chautauqua. What is the organizing entity for the Chautauqua?
It is the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation. Okay. So again, the rooms are gifted to the repriser, and his guest could be a lady that plays Mrs. Roosevelt, could, as in the case of Mrs. Wiegand, be a spouse who's just along for the ride, and this fun either profession or hobby that someone has. We stamp out new Theodore Roosevelts. If there's a fellow who I've met who might like to try being Theodore Roosevelt, and he's kind of got the build and the idea of doing so, we've had some new guys try it. Last year we had an 18-year-old young man named Nolan Reynolds out of Iowa. At 18, already a junior in college. He came and did young 25-year-old Theodore Roosevelt, the rancher, the young man who came out healing from death of wife and mother, story you're so familiar with, and so many others in Medora. And you know, this young man is hoping to come back next summer, and I think we're planning on having him as part of our Living History program. Here's a young man who, in Medora, and for audiences 20 years from now, could be doing, you know, a young adult Theodore Roosevelt that is beyond my ability to portray now before you at the age of 57.
And it gets worse every year, right?
Hey, Teddy died at 60. I'm hoping for a little extra time.
You know, you brought up the term repriser, which is something that I think of that as a Joe Wiegand Theodore Roosevelt original.
It is.
And how you talk about your role of portraying Theodore Roosevelt.
Right.
Have others from the Chautauqua and other Theodore Roosevelt reprisers coined the phrase as well? And picked up the ball and ran,
right, they've adopted it because I think it is a different genre. Sometimes we have the phrase reenactor. Very often I have great respect for those living history people who their reenactment is around lifestyles, costuming, camp life. So you find that in those that do voyageurs, the French fur trappers and that sort of thing. This wonderful Hugh Glass rendezvous that's in our region, just outside of Lemon. That's a reenactment camp done by men who portray the voyageurs with their canoes, pirogue canoes, and teepees. Our living history has relationships. My friend Larry Marple comes out of the tradition of doing Civil War reenactment. Reprisals, however, for me as a student of government and politics, comes from the United States Constitution, the enumerated powers of Congress in the first article of the Constitution, where it says Congress has the authority to issue letters of marque and reprisal by which American pirates can capture enemy ships and present them in exchange for reward. I try to capture the spirit of Theodore Roosevelt and present it in exchange for reward, and I encourage my compatriots to build the profession. It really is a craft. If it's done well, there's a demand out there in the arts and in the general audiences of this country to see living American history done well, and I just inserted that word American. What we have, you know, is very special. The United States, I do believe, is a blessed land, and that we've been given great responsibility, been a beacon and a torch of democracy for the world. We've saved Europe on 2 occasions, sent the boys over, and there were Roosevelt boys and boys from Billings County and the region of southwestern North Dakota in those wars as well. So if we here in Medora, as part of our mission, as part of accomplishing the mission of connecting people to Medora for positive life-changing experiences, doing that through living history theater that we might call reprisals.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun thing that I get to do here.
When I first got to know you, that was one of the first stories that I recall you sharing with me. We did an interview. You were doing an event for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, and I got you on the phone. We did an interview, and you told me that story. Is that documented anywhere, that story, so that somebody watching might want to go back?
Apparently right here on Dakota Cowboy, Bill Pollinuk on Beck TV.
There you go.
There it is. Archive this one.
All right,
Yeah,
good deal.
yeah.
Yes, it's such exciting times for the beautiful city of Medora, North Dakota. Like you mentioned, we're in January now, and there is something special that you feel when you walk around Medora on these dead still winter nights.
I laugh just because walking is the way to go.
Yes.
We are able to drive because of the wonderful people here. Let's give thanks to the city employees, county and state employees, the foundation employees that keep the roads plowed, and we've had such big snow that, as you see, we've built roundabouts.
Yes, we have.
In every intersection, these great mountains of snow that get driven about, and of course the kids, every one of those is a king of the mountain or a sled hill.
Yeah.
It's a special place. The calm of the winter compared to the electricity and the beehive quality of the summertime. There will be a transition in the spring, and isn't a nice heavy snow at this point, and hopefully the right level of precipitation through the winter and spring. As you know, last spring we just had the most beautiful floral and green spring because of the heavy snows in April. We'll take whatever we get.
Yes.
We're thankful for the moisture for the ranchers, for
yeah,
sure.
right now everybody's talking about the ground is covered with snow for the first time in many, many years, and that's signaling perhaps the drought is loosening its grip on our area.
We can hope and pray and give thanks for what we get. A lot of North Dakotans, of course, Bill, are going to go elsewhere for a little while this winter. I don't know about you, but I wanted, while we're here in the lobby, this beautiful historic hotel, the Rough Riders Hotel, in later this month in January.
Bring that up. Yep.
January 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The Teddy Roosevelt Show is going to be at the Menger Hotel, M-E-N-G-E-R. It's downtown San Antonio on Alamo Plaza. It's the historic hotel that was there when Theodore Roosevelt and the Rough Riders were there in 1898. There again when the Rough Riders returned during TR's administration in 1905 for a Rough Rider reunion. And when the Teddy Roosevelt Show is in San Antonio at the Menger Hotel, it's a dinner show in the Colonial Dining Room. And your viewers can get more information at medora.com/Teddy Travels.
What are the dates? What are the dates?
January 20th, 21st, and 22nd. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's a special room rate at the Menger Hotel. If you've never been, it's worth the trip. It's got so much history. It's right next door to the Alamo, which will, of course will be open, and the A. Phimister Proctor statue of the Rough Rider, the statue that we so appreciate being in Minot, North Dakota at Roosevelt Park. The statue that's in Oyster Bay, Long Island. Sadly, the same statue that 2 years ago was torn down in Portland and hasn't gone back up yet. That statue, a new version of that, was installed just outside of the door of the Menger Hotel Bar, which I think might be a little bit of a laugh for the locals, because it's always been said that the bartender at the Menger says that Teddy rode his horse into the bar and shot his pistol in the ceiling. I can assure you, viewers, Theodore Roosevelt did no such thing. But he did write his sister that he enjoyed the mango ice cream in the Colonial Dining Room. It's one of the things that it'll be on the menu in January.
You know, there are so many things we can talk about, and we can't possibly get it all in one episode. We're going to make this a regular visit, and hopefully it'll be sooner than 6 months. That's how long it's been since we've done this. But going into 2023, the Teddy Show, I'm certain we'll be back at the Old Town Theater in Medora. Are you in the planning stages, or
well, I've never planned a thing in my life, Bill. I am going to make sure, though, that because it's the 125th anniversary of the Spanish-American War,
okay,
I'm going to make that a special part of the show. I think people who've come to Medora and seen the show realize that there's no script. Every show is unique and different. I've always felt the responsibility to tell some of the best Theodore Roosevelt in the Badlands stories. But next year, I think it's very important, and in honor of our veterans, and before we conclude, I'll mention that in addition to the show being a salute to our veterans, our Veterans Appreciation Day, which is the second Sunday in July, is a day where there will be 2 shows, and both of those shows at the Medora Musical will be free to veterans and active duty and reservists. So I'm looking forward to a great Veterans Appreciation Day, July 9th, but for us in Medora, every day is Veterans Appreciation Day.
You are very active on social media. As Theodore Roosevelt, recently I learned that Teddy was was the first president to ever ride in an airplane, and I do believe the pilot was Orville Wright, if I'm...
1910, Archibald Hoxsey. The Wrights at that time were busy selling and demonstrating their planes in France.
Okay.
You might remember that Orville Wright, in TR's presidency, TR bought the first 2 Wright flyers for the United States Army. They were being flown at Fort Myers, Northern Virginia. Orville Wright crashed, broke his leg. Lieutenant Selfridge of the United States Army was killed in that crash, the first passenger fatality in an airplane. TR rides in a Jenny in 1910, captained by Archibald Hoxsey in St. Louis at what would become Lambert Field. And they do a few turns, and TR's waving to the crowd, and Archibald Hoxsey tells him to stop waving. He's noticing that his hand is right near a cable. I should be down over on this. That if his hand strikes the cable, it would have been very perilous. On December 31st in 1910, Archibald Hoxsey himself, in attempting to set a new altitude record in that very same plane, the plane blows apart. Archibald Hoxsey dies that year, 1910. TR had been in that same plane earlier in the year.
Wow. If you're a fan of historical anecdotes like that, follow this man on social media. What is the Facebook page?
We've got a couple of Facebook pages. I'm at Joe Wiegand, W-I-E-G-A-N-D, and Teddy Roosevelt Show. And my daughter tells me there's something called Instagram and Twitter and that I should do more there, but I'm of a Facebook generation right now. Bill, always so glad that you come to Medora and to the Rough Riders Hotel and support our entertainments and the programs of the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation. We didn't even talk about the gospel brunch or the pitchfork steak fondue, but here's the thing. Opening night, the Medora Musical, June 7th. Over 4 million people have come to see the Medora Musical. What are you waiting for?
You, sir, are one of my favorite people.
You too.
And I don't take your time for granted. I know it's precious, so you coming on the show is greatly appreciated.
A delight to be with you, Bill, and your viewers as well. All the best in 2023.
Joe Wiegand here at the Rough Rider Hotel on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Improve your home or business with services from Zaka Remodeling and Construction. Whether you need windows or doors repaired, replaced, or installed for your residential or commercial property, Zaka Remodeling and Construction can help. Our local and family-owned business offers flexible hours and over 10 years of experience in the industry. We are your local Pella expert. Pella is rated #1 in highest quality and innovation by homeowners across the country. Feel confident when you choose Pella and Zaka Remodeling. Contact us today for a free estimate. Zaka Remodeling and Construction.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
I invite you to stop at Dakota Community Bank and Trust and meet our professional insurance agents. They offer numerous lines of insurance, including farm, ranch, federal crop and hail, commercial, home and auto. As an independent agency, they offer product solutions from a wide variety of companies. Our insurance professionals would like to get to know you and visit about your insurance needs.
Serving the community, looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Medora Boot and Western Wear open year-round in historic Medora. You'll find quality items for cowboys and cowgirls of all ages. Medora Boot and Western Wear has over 1,500 pair of boots on hand at all times. New this year, the R. Watson brand of boot, featuring an all-leather heel, riveted shank, and a 10-iron leather sole. Jeans, shirts, hats, caps, and more, and customer service is #1. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Lori Lori Hins here at the Bourbon Bureau with no apologies. Just an adventure every single day.
You know what? The students love me. I have a very high rating.
Where you will find all sides of the story.
They were forced to take classes online, but yet they were going out to bars and other things at night. Everyone knew this was ridiculous.
Bringing you a little dose of sanity every Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Central on Beck and Beck.News.
Let the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining add to your historic Medora experience. Open 7 days a week. Enjoy family dining at its best on our main floor, as well as the upper dining room and outdoor patio with a fabulous view of Medora and the Badlands. Try the bison ribeye, delicious pizza, and an entire menu filled with fabulous food for all appetites. A full bar with an impressive list of tap beer and more adult beverage favorites. Visit us at littlemosaloon.com and look for live music events happening regularly. History lives at the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining in historic Medora. Y'all come see us now, you hear?
Welcome back to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Dale Paulke, Katie Handy, and the whole team at Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Thank you for a great 2022 and looking forward to make new relationships in 2023. Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Follow them on social media and find out how active they are in the communities that they serve. Well, we talked to Joe Wiegand a few minutes ago, and so from the Rough Rider Hotel, we wandered across the street to the Theodore Roosevelt Library Medora headquarters. And when you come here, you'll be greeted by a young lady whose energy and enthusiasm is infectious for all things Medora, particularly the Theodore Roosevelt Library Project. She is Amy McCann, and I thank you for joining us on the show today. Did you have a great Christmas, Amy?
I had a great Christmas. I loved it. It was
wonderful.
amazing. Yeah.
You spent it in Medora?
I was here in Medora, yep, with my family, my 2 boys and husband. Yeah.
Okay. Give us a little snapshot of your background, where you went to school, where you grew up, and the steps that led you to this office.
Yeah. Well, I am born and raised in East Tennessee and met my husband at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park there. We've traveled around quite a bit and landed here at Theodore Roosevelt National Park. We've actually been in North Dakota now for over 15 years and in Medora for 10 years.
Okay.
Absolutely love it, have been here and raising our kids here. It's a wonderful place to live. So.
East Tennessee, didn't Kenny Chesney come from East?
He did.
Are you a fan?
Yes.
Of course
you have to be. You have to be. I was raised in the same county that he was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Maybe we'll get him to come to the opening of the library. How about that?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, we'll see if we can pull some strings. Yes. So anyway, we are so excited. 2026. That will be the 250th anniversary of the country, of the United States of America.
Right.
That's the target date for cutting the ribbon on the new library.
Yeah.
Boy, do we have some work to do.
Oh, lots of work to do.
Oh, man.
Yes, to get us there.
How long have you been in public relations here at the library project?
I started with the library in 2020. 2020. Fall of 2020 is when I started working. So about 2 years now, over 2 years.
As you find yourself being involved in this project, do you find that the excitement is growing and the momentum is building?
It is. There is so much excitement about the project. And what I love about our office here is that we have a lot of North Dakotans coming into the office, asking questions, wanting to know more. They've heard about it. And so I love having our office open for that opportunity for people to come and learn more about the project. And then they take that home, to their friends and talk about the project as well.
As a matter of fact, that was going to be one of my questions. What are the people asking when they come here? It's kind of nature that, local people can be kind of skeptical about something new, but I think they're warming up to the idea of what is going to happen here in Medora in the next few years. And what do you tell them? What do you tell the local people that come in with skepticism?
It's an amazing learning opportunity for so many people, not just young people or students, but there's so much to learn. So much to learn about our landscape, so much to learn about the building and the process of the building and all of the innovation that goes into it. but then also to learn about TR's legacy and how to be a good citizen, how to be a good conservationist, you know, how to be a great leader. And so those are the values that we're going to teach, and that's what people get excited about.
You know, and that kind of ties in with what we talked about in prepping for this conversation. On your website, it says the world needs more Theodore Roosevelt now more than ever. Elaborate on that based on what you just said, and go forward.
Yeah, I think we all think about Theodore Roosevelt and his influence on what America is today, but what we can learn from him is his ability to work across different platforms and work with multiple different types of people and ideas, and so it may seem like we're divided or there's some division in the country, but there's also opportunities to come together. And TR had done that. He had taught us how to come together and bringing different people together to solve a problem or to how we move forward.
The library is also, the website says it'll be a center to empower courage in the civic arena.
Yes.
Where do you go with that?
Yeah, I love the civic arena, and TR was in the civic arena in multiple ways, you know, as a commissioner and a legislator and then vice president. There's so many different ways that he was in the civic arena and that we can learn from. And, you know, at the library there is and will be an opportunity for youth and for people, adults, older adults, to learn about how can they become more engaged in the civic arena, how can they be a better citizen in their town or in their area.
What we've done here in the last 5 minutes, Amy, is laid the foundation of what the thought process and the philosophy and the legacy that's going into the library. Now, the library itself is being billed as a digital library for an analog president. And if anybody wants that explained better than you and I could possibly do here, we tell them to go to the Chateau and see the displays that local projects from New York assembled. And there's holograms, and you open a drawer and digital butterflies come out. It's just amazing. And so what was the experience going into the library going to be like?
Yeah, so, you know, the whole experience is going to be from Theodore Roosevelt's childhood all the way to the end of his life. So you're going to gradually learn about Theodore Roosevelt. And so at the Chateau, yes, we are talking about his childhood and the magic of childhood that you have. And so we bring that magic to life. And then same as you go into even when he was president, you'll be sitting in the cabinet room and you'll be sitting at a table just like this, where TR has to make a decision. And the decision that he has to make is going to have long-term effects. And so you'll sit down and you'll be challenged with this is the issue right now. How are you going to decide? And you'll be presented with multiple options, and you decide, and then you'll learn what the outcome is. Hopefully it's a good outcome, but it could be a worse outcome. But it's a way of getting people engaged. So there's that civic engagement again, is like, what does it mean to be engaged? And what are the decisions that the people that we elect are making? And are we staying on top of that? Do we know what the decisions are that they're making? So
many layers to Theodore Roosevelt's presidential life, you know, from the Panama Canal to establishing the national park system to being a Rough Rider. And the library is, as I understand, is going to have a display of the charge up San Juan Hill of some sort. How is that going to be displayed?
Yeah, so in the library there are multiple rooms. So there's like the childhood home, there's TR in the West, so his time when he was here in the Dakota territory, and then his time as a Rough Rider as well. So the different types of experiences are either immersive storytelling, and so that Rough Rider one is immersive. So you become a Rough Rider. You are charging up San Juan Hill. You are learning about what is it like to be in a battle. you know, and it's not easy. It's going to be hard. So there's going to be moments in the library that's uplifting, that's exciting, and then there's going to be moments of sadness and learning, and there's going to be moments of like maybe even a little fear. So you're going to experience all of these feelings and all of these things that TR experienced as well, and hopefully come out of it with some of your own goals.
And you talk about sadness. Nothing could be sadder than losing your wife and your mother on Valentine's Day, and the same day, which he wrote in his journal. The light has gone out of my life. He came back to the North Dakota Badlands to mourn and to regroup, and boy, did it have an effect on him.
It did have an effect.
Yes, it did. The library itself, I've heard things like, we'll be able to do things like get on the trail ride and ride our horses up there. The Matahay will go there, and you can put your bike up and go through the library, things like that. And gosh, it's just going to be a state-of-the-art facility. And outside the library, there's going to be longhorn cattle, I understand.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to be longhorn cattle.
Okay, all right, I won't hold you to that.
That might be nice. That would be good.
Yes, but you're paying particular attention to the native grasses, the native plantation that's in this area that was there at the time that Roosevelt was here. There's been, this summer, I know Chris Moody and a few others, they had a project where they were harvesting seeds at the Elkhorn Ranch to relocate them to the library.
Yeah. So what I love about this building is that it's part of the landscape, and the landscape is part of the building, and so that part is a big reason why I wanted to be a part of this project, is because I love this landscape of the Badlands. I love the cultural history of the Badlands, and this building celebrates that culture and that history, and the landscape will continue to celebrate that culture and that history. And so, with the roof, it is going to be a grass roof, and it will be planted with native grasses that are found within a 50-mile radius. We've only picked grasses and seeds from a 50-mile radius of the building. And so all of that is going to be replanted and then planted onto the building, and then we'll be planting where all of the construction areas are, and then going even beyond that to try and recover the landscape because it was in pretty poor condition. And so recovering that landscape, having grazing, continued grazing on the landscape to tell that story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stargazing pit?
Stargazing pit.
In the middle of all that on the roof, among all the native plantation, you'll also be able to look up at the stars.
At the stars, yeah.
And I think that was kind of a big selling point for having them locate here, was because of the lack of light pollution.
Yes, yeah. So our biggest reason of locating here is the connection to nature.
Right.
We have it all around us. We have Forest Service, Park Service. We're so blessed with this beautiful landscape that we can have, that we can share with others.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very transparent. When this project first started, and then there was talk of it being in Dickinson, then there was talk of it coming to Medora, I was one of those skeptics. I thought, man, it's got to be in Dickinson. I spent a considerable amount of time with a man who was involved with local projects. That in my studio, I recorded his voice for the chateau. Joe Wiegand single-handedly convinced me beyond 1,000% that Medora, North Dakota is the place for the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. We talked to him earlier in the program today. How important is it to have such a goodwill ambassador with the TR Foundation as being a liaison with the library project? Talk about your relationship with Joe.
I love Joe.
See, I ask questions that I know the answers to.
I always love going after Joe because Joe brings TR spirit.
Well, he sets the bar high, though.
He does. I know, but he already brings TR to the scene, and he sets the scene. So I love going after Joe and being a part of anything that he is and a part of as well. He really does embody, I think, TR's spirit very well. When I first moved here, I had to remind myself he's not really TR. But he knows so much about TR, and he knows the history is just amazing, that the knowledge that he has that he can bring to this community. We're very lucky to have him here. Yeah.
It's become very obvious to me that we've just skimmed the surface in this conversation today, and I would hope that you'd agree to do this again, and we'll take it to the next step. But as we leave for today, is there any question that I haven't asked that you would like to tell the viewers about the library project? Perhaps your hours that you're here at the office and people can come in and learn?
Yeah. So the office in the summertime, during that tourist peak season, I do have a staff person here. So we're open on the weekends. We're open 7 days a week in the summertime. And then wintertime, I'm here Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So anybody can walk in, and if they have questions, I can answer. Hopefully I can answer them. I've been able to answer all the questions so far.
You did great. You did awesome.
I haven't been able to answer yet. So.
But yeah, come experience Medora in the wintertime and just feel the magic of the piece. You can feel it just kind of resting and regrouping for the new season coming up. So, okay, Amy McCann, our guest today here on Dakota Cowboy. Your time is so valuable. Thank you for doing this today.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back in just a minute here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
At Service Basin Transportation, just give us a call to arrange transportation within our 7-county ridership. We serve a large area, including many towns, in the Magic City or even to the capital city, Bismarck. Door-to-door service for less cost of an Uber, Lyft, or taxi, for shopping, for dining, for doctor's appointments, or visiting. It's Minot's most convenient way to travel to Bismarck, within Minot, or anywhere within our 7-county region. Service Basin Transportation.
Welcome to the start of Main Street, the Main Medical Building located at 315 Main, downtown Minot. The unique shops inside offer body and mind healing, a safe haven for mothers-to-be, mixed martial arts, hair salons, massages, counseling services, and much more. Also, keep a special lookout for a brand new Jamaican-inspired restaurant opening this fall. Take a stroll inside the Main Medical Building and uncover the unique shops and experiences that lay within. Discover the start of Main Street at the Main Medical Building today.
Hi, Rich from Law Motors. 45 years ago, Dad started selling cars. 35 years ago, I started selling cars. And 15 years ago, Tyler started selling cars.
And I'm Mom, and I told all of them, just be nice.
Whether you have guns, ammo, vehicles, toys, or collectibles, consign with Last Chance Auction and we can help put money in your pocket. Give us a call at 334-SOLD or visit lastchancesd.com for upcoming auctions.
Man has worked in sync with Mother Nature since the beginning of time. Relying on her to provide sufficient moisture every growing season is a roll of the dice. You can now insure your pastures and rangelands with Rainfall Index policy available from Chamley Financial. This will give you the peace of mind by knowing you will be protected from the adverse effects of Mother Nature. Contact Chamley Financial today, 719-338-3428, or go to chamleyfinancial.com.
JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision has built a reputation as one of the most reputable and reliable body shops in this region. With nearly 30 years in business, customers count on JR's to get it done right the first time. They'll work with your insurance company to smoothen the process. From their 40-foot frame straightening machine, Sickens paint, and the latest technology in the repair industry, they're the only name you need to know. For auto, semi, RV, and trailer repair, it's JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. North Dickinson, call 701-483-6778. JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. For more than 70 years, farmers and ranchers have relied on Dickinson Ready Mix for all their concrete needs. Whether it's a shop building for machinery storage or paved feedlots for your livestock, grain bins for on-site grain storage, or precast pads for automatic cattle waterers, Dickinson Ready Mix has been there to provide quality concrete for all your agricultural structures and infrastructure. For your next project, call Dickinson Ready Mix to discuss the benefits that concrete can add to your operation.
Hey, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs?
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think, everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
It's Dakota Cowboy on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm your host, Wild Bill. Thanks so much for joining us. We go now to the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Hall of Honorees Inductee of the Week, which is brought to you by Torgerson Auto Center. They're on East Bismarck Expressway in Bismarck. They have an amazing inventory. Cars, light and heavy-duty trucks, SUVs, minivans. They can get it for you at Torgerson Auto Center. Find them on Facebook or go to torgersonautocenter.com. We take you back now to the very first Hall of Honorees induction ceremonies held August 1st, 1998 at Jaden Terrace in Medora. Inducted that day were Jim and Tom Tesher, Alvin Nelson, and others, including the very first one in the Hall of Honorees, Duane Howard. We go back to that hot Saturday afternoon as the Reverend Father William Joseph Fawnlander gives some thoughts on those four guys, Jim and Tom and Alvin, and of course, Duane Howard.
You know, I'm reminded as I stand here, I'm kind of way out of the picture. I'm like the old priest that was retiring, and he couldn't remember a thing, and so he had to use notes. And as I greet you, I want you to know that I'm very glad to be here in Medora. You know, I think of Duane Howard and his wife, Orf Hansen. He was one of the great cowboys in my book. And I was sure back in 1961, if I remember correctly, he was riding 6th in the standings in saddle bronc riding. And after the whistle blew, the horse fell on him and injured him badly, and he was never able to ride as great after that. But he still continued to ride. Now, something strikes me about all four of these guys, and this is kind of I think, a special thing. You all know them for their riding ability, for the championships they've won, and for the rodeos, the great horses they rode. But I don't know if all of you stop to think of this. All four of these men are still married to the first wife they married. And I can't help but think, as these poor wives have put up with this for up to 52 years. And I can't help but think they're going to get a high place in heaven. But we're proud of these guys. We're proud of Duane. He was... All four of these guys helped us with our Champions Ride get started. It was Jim and Tom Tesher that came up with the idea, but all four of these guys were involved in it for quite a few years. So our first one to really introduce is Duane Howard. We did this by alphabetically, not by who was the best or who was the worst. Duane, would you come forward?
I'd like to thank Father Fawnlander and all of the members and the honorary members of the Cowboy Hall of Fame that started this, especially the Evelyn, Phil, and to all the people that came here, come here today to more or less celebrate this situation. I know that it's probably one of the greatest things that'll ever happen to me. I'd like to also say that the other three guys, Jim and Tom and Alvin, they really don't need any introduction. Their record speaks for itself. Also, we have Dean Armstrong, who's here, and Joe Chase, who belong right with us. I'd like to thank all my friends through all these years, my family, my mother and dad, my grandpa and grandma, and my uncle Wilson, and also my family, basically my daughters, and especially I'd like to dedicate this to my wife Orpha for putting up with me for all these years. And would you stand up, Mom? She'd worked for 42 years to support my habit and take care of the girls, make things go real good. God bless you all.
Well, Duane, some of those habits are what we honor and celebrate at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. Thank you for being the first ever inductee in the Hall of Honorees. This segment has been brought to you by our friends at Torgerson Auto Center on East Bismarck Expressway. Find them online at torgersonautocenter.com and on social media. We'll be back one more time here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust on Beck TV.
Okay, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs.
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think, everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and in light of the recent events, your continued support means everything to myself and my employees. To thank you, we're having the biggest sale ever on all MyPillow bedding. Get MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $29.98, a set of pillowcases for only $9.98. In this economy, instead of buying a new bed, rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. We also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles, like plush, waffle, or gossamer, for as low as $29.98. We even have pet blankets from small size to the ones for your car. Get huge discounts on duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code and you'll get huge discounts on all MyPillow bedding, including MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $29.98. Get all your shopping in while quantities last. Please order now.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I'm a sixth generation farmer, husband, patriot, father. And as much as I'd love to just sit here under this shade tree and celebrate my own place on my front porch, truth of the matter is that people don't know who, where, and how is producing their food. So travel the country with Trent on the loose, and we'll find those interesting human interest stories behind the people that bring us the efficient food supply. Trent on the loose.
The Wall of Honor pays tribute to local individuals from across the state of North Dakota. On digital indoor billboards, these heroes of the past and present are prominently featured with a photo, name, and their branch of service. Our funding is made possible by donations and advertisers like you.
As a veteran and as a board member, I couldn't think of a better way to help remember the service and sacrifice than celebrating and supporting the Wall of Honor.
Medora Boot and Western Wear open year-round in historic Medora. You'll find quality items for cowboys and cowgirls of all ages. Medora Boot and Western Wear has over 1,500 pair of boots on hand at all times. New this year, the R. Watson brand of boot, featuring an all-leather heel, riveted shank, and a 10-iron leather sole. Jeans, shirts, hats, caps, and more, and customer service is #1. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Let the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining add to your historic Medora experience. Open 7 days a week. Enjoy family dining at its best on our main floor, as well as the upper dining room and outdoor patio with a fabulous view of Medora and the Badlands. Try the bison ribeye, delicious pizza, and an entire menu filled with fabulous food for all appetites. A full bar with an impressive list of tap beer and more adult beverage favorites. Visit us at LittleMoSaloon.com and look for live music events happening regularly. History lives at the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining in historic Medora. Y'all come see us now, you hear?
Hey, we are back one more time on Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. A couple of dates for you to save. The first one is January 20th. Are you wanting to get away from the cold and the snow and the ice of North Dakota for sunny, warm Arizona? Well, do we have a deal for you? We're going to be in Wickenburg, Arizona on January 20th for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame 2023 Winter Roundup being organized by District 13. There will be a social, a live and silent auction, a fabulous dinner, and music provided by Chloe Fredericks. Looking forward to that. And meanwhile, District 5 is busily preparing for the 2023 annual meeting. On February 17th and 18th, we will gather in Minot, North Dakota for all things North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. We're going to have some fun, too. On Friday night, Dan Wagner will be the entertainment. He portrays Elvis and Johnny Cash. We're looking forward to that. Saturday night's entertainment will be Rachel Iannaro. And there'll be a live auction, a silent auction, and a meeting that discusses everything North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, as I mentioned, and we'll also have testimony for this year's nominees. That's February 17th and 18th. Both the Winter Roundup and the annual meeting, you can find out details and register online at northdakotacowboy.org. Click on events. As I mentioned, this weekend, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Board of Directors got together and whittled the ballot down for the nominees into the class of 2023 in the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, and we are looking forward to talking to a couple of those board members coming up on next week's program. Thanks so much for all your feedback for our program. We greatly appreciate it, and gosh, I can't thank you enough for watching Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm Wild Bill. See you in the future, if not in the pasture. Adios.
Whether you have guns, ammo, vehicles, toys, or collectibles, consign with Last Chance Auction and we can help put money in your pocket. Give us a call at 334-SOLD or visit lastchancesd.com for upcoming auctions.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
We are rewriting Hollywood's script for our kids. I'm pop culture expert Tina Griffin, and as a former Hollywood actress, I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how today's entertainment is eroding the foundational development of America's youth and how to safely navigate this pop culture chaos. Knowledge is power. Parents want solutions. It's time to get the power back in your hands and reclaim the right to decide who and what should influence your kids.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV. Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.